Being recorded.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Nitha Ramachandra from the NR Sports Show. We are live on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, on all the podcast platforms. We are joined by a really special guest. Her name is Bree Mary D. You can find her on all social media formats. She's a talented, inspiring sports reporter, and she's from the Boston area. She covers all Boston sports, Celtics, Bruins, Red Sox, and Patriots too. And she's a big Celtics fan. And Bree, we finally made this happen. And thank you again for joining the show. It's truly an honor. And fans, please tune in on the Spreaker app. You can ask questions to Bree today on the Spreaker app too. So Bree, how are you and your family doing? And like I said, we finally made it happen. And obviously you work 3 jobs. You're a busy woman and obviously inspiring and hardworking. And I'm glad to have you on today.
Thank you so much for having me. I know, better late than never, right? I'm glad we got to get this done today. Couldn't be a better time because you're catching me off a Celtics win.
Yeah.
If it was the other way around, you would not be having a pleasant Bree podcast. So best timing ever is right now. So let's get this done.
Yeah. So now your resume speaks for itself. Obviously, it says that you're a bartender too, and you used to work for NBC Boston. So let's start off with when did you get interested in the sports industry, and who did you look up to as a woman, and obviously women in sports, it's growing big time. I'm a big advocate of women in sports, so who did you look up to while growing up?
I appreciate that. I guess I'll give you a little background. So my grandfather was a professional boxer, and my dad played football at BC, so a D1 school. So I kind of grew up in the sports atmosphere. My parents had me when they were young. So literally when I was like 9 months old, he was taking me on those trips to Florida when they were in that Florida Bowl, like for BC. Yeah. So like I just grew up like learning all about sports. Like I was literally 1 year old, like doing all the football, like signs and all that. Yeah. So from there, I played 3 sports in high school. I started off with soccer, did indoor track, and then I also played softball. I played softball in college. I knew that I could, especially being a woman. I want to be able to give that perspective because I believe that we are looked down upon when it comes to knowledge of sports, which is really unfortunate. So I just try and, relate to those women that feel the same way as I do and kind of give guys a different perspective, because I feel as though not all, but most of the women that are portrayed on TV are mainly just a pretty face just to read off a teleprompter, and they don't really know the ins and outs of the sports world. So I'm just glad that I can have any sort of platform and voice to give another perspective or side to the sports world. And I started off doing radio, actually. I started off at iHeartRadio, and I worked for them for 3 years. And then I grew up in Newton. So I went back to my hometown and I said, how can I get involved? So I started working for Newton Public Access Television, and I would take out a camera. I would go to my local high school. This is when I had graduated. I would record all of the basketball games, the softball games, and I would take it back, edit it, do voiceovers, then do stand-up for their live show. Did that for a year. Then I was doing kind of like this. I was doing Facebook Lives. This was way before Instagram Live. I wasn't really good with YouTube and stuff. So I took to Facebook Live, and I started just recording myself of mainly Celtics. That's like my main sport to talk about. But I also did it for Red Sox as well. I'm not a hockey person. Sorry to break everyone's hearts. I don't like hockey. But and I can talk football as well. But since Tom Brady left, it hasn't been the same. So I would do that. And actually someone who worked for Dirty Water Media reached one of the owners actually to me via DM and said, hey, do you want to do this for my show? And I said, sure. So I did that for 3 years. And then I switched from radio to television. Best job I've ever had. It was so fun. I was a production assistant there for almost 3 years. COVID of jobs, seeing as I wasn't an essential personnel because I I was only an assistant at that point. I was trying to work my way up in that company, but it was cut short. However, I left on great terms. I'm cool with everybody there. And once I kind of give up the bartending life and focus on something more, 9 to 5, I believe I can easily get back into NBC sports if that's what I want to do. So yeah, that's kind of like my journey of my career and how I got into sports. It's just a super big passion of mine. I've loved them forever. And it's just cool to see like the attention and the support I've been getting, because it kind of came out of nowhere. I put up a few tweets that went viral, obviously my connections with NBC sports people, and just, some of the like celebrities that I've come across. It's just awesome. I enjoy it so much. And I actually said on one of my posts last night, I was like, 0 watching me, thousands of people could be watching me. I don't care. I'm never going to change who I am. I'm just going to keep doing me, say what I want to say. People love it or hate it. That's the type of Italian personality I have. So I'm glad that, I can come on here and give you guys just another, another person and another perspective to talk to.
Yeah, I'm glad that we connected. And obviously I've seen your stuff. You do an amazing job on your pregame and postgame with the Celtics. And you finally got to meet Big Perk, which
I know. So crazy story. He like randomly started following me on Twitter, and I was like, this can't be the right account. Like, there's no way. And so I actually like got up the courage to message him and be like, honestly, why are you following me? Like, what did I say? What about my page did you find? And he said the best thing he could have ever said. He said, don't ever stop tweeting or saying what you need to say, because you never know who's listening and who's watching you. He said, I respected your takes. I thought that what you said resonated with me, and that was why I thought that you were worth the follow. And that was like almost 5 years ago. That was way before COVID. So the fact that I got to meet him in person and he remembered who I was, and he was like, it's about damn time we met, it just made my whole year. And it's just so great to have someone of that caliber like respect you and mutually respect you, and we have respect for each other's work. So it was just such an awesome experience. And Big Perk is the man, so humble, such a great guy, and I am so thankful to even have his attention in any sort of way on Twitter. And it was awesome to meet him. It was so great.
Yeah, and he does a great job on First Take with Stephen A. Smith.
Really
and I don't know if you saw that Saturday Night Live skit with them. With they did.
I saw like a bit of it. He posted it. He was like, "I guess you really made it when SNL's making fun of you." But honestly, he really changed the game for sports broadcasting, in my opinion. And we are just so blessed to be able to have him do like little guest sets on NBC Sports Boston. So it just all worked out perfect. And I'm really, really glad that he's a part of that community, because his voice is definitely worth listening to.
Yeah, before we go any further, I want to speak on women in sports still, because I have like 12 people that helps me out with my show, and 5 of them are females. And one of them, Gabby Herba, she helps out sometimes.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, she helps out.
Yeah, she reached out to me as well, and I was like, awesome, like I can talk with another girl like this. So she's the best. Yeah. She's doing great work. I'm so impressed with her and all of the like. I'm very proud of her.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the growth of women in sports? Obviously, we have still ways to go, but I'm liking where it's going for you guys, and getting more opportunities, not only as broadcasters or analysts, as GMs, as head coaches. So what do you like about the growth of women in sports right now?
I definitely think it still, like you said, has a long way to go, but I do like the progress that has been made. I do believe that, we're seeing more former athletes, and that's men and women, taking those roles. And that's totally fine with me, because if you've lived it and you've played it, obviously more people think that you are validated in that to be able to speak on what you're watching. So I totally appreciate that. It's just so hard. It's kind of like, I'm a realist. It's a needle in a haystack type job to get to where those women are. Like, it's not even about who you know, because like I know a bunch of people in this industry locally and globally, and it's more just, how bad do you want it? And are you like, and what route did you take to get there, to get on air? Like, did you put in the work and went to the middle of nowhere and sat at a TV station in the, like, say Nebraska or somewhere random, and you were just on TV grinding for years and years doing like like basic news. And then you finally put a demo reel together that you're proud of, and you send it to all these different markets, and you wait for years and years and years. That's such a difficult journey. So I'm taking this route because it's fun for me. I don't need to get paid to do this. Like, it's more of a passion than a career. It's a hobby for me. But for those women that take that route and make it to, like, you know, the big stage, I'm so proud of them. It takes a lot of work, and I'm very, like I said, the credibility, and people, you know, there will always be haters. I could say something flawlessly and someone will pick out one thing that I said, twist it, and be like, you're a girl, you're dumb, you don't know what you're talking about. There's always going to be people like that. So it's important to block out the haters and to just focus on the support and the people that back you up and support you and believe in what you're doing and saying. But I'm so impressed with the female presence in the sports world. I'm so glad that it's gotten to the point that it's gotten to, especially them being coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would love to see like just a female head coach in the NBA world. Mm-hmm. Becky Harmon, I think Hammond is so close to doing that. And it's obviously, like, you know, the price is right. Obviously women get paid a lot less, which is also stupid. Yeah. But they're being like trailblazers and pioneers for that type of step of women in sports. And I honestly, my hat tips off to them. I'm very impressed with all of them. I will always support women in sports. And I'm just glad that we are moving in the right direction and we're not taking steps back in that.
All right, let's get to your obviously what does it mean to you being part of Boston fandom? Because obviously you guys have the best fan base, in my opinion, when it comes to sports. Obviously, you guys Celtic pride, Red Sox Nation, obviously Bruins and Patriots. But for you, over the last few years, what has it mean for you to be just part of that Boston fandom and support like the Celtics and the Red Sox?
Well, if you know anything about Boston sports, it is an emotional roller coaster. I can love my team one day and then literally want to jump off the Tobin Bridge the next day. Like, you're just down for the ride. Like, you know that they're going to like play on your heartstrings, and you know that like nothing is ever guaranteed and that it's going to be a journey for sure. If you looked at how the Celtics started off this season, 21-22 in January, looking like absolute crap going into the All-Star break, and in the 11th seed, you were like, what is going on? Just throw this whole season out. I'm over it. And you just questioned everything because you're like, we're used to being a championship caliber team. What are we looking at right now? Like, just like our roster didn't match our records. So it was just annoying. But you know what? I never gave up on them. It's like one of those things where it's like, I'm mad at you, but I still love you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm disappointed, but it doesn't mean I stopped caring about you. And they literally just did a complete 180. I think it's like the best comeback in NBA history, like to turn your whole season around. They at one point held the 1 seed. They went from literally not even making playoff contention to going to the 1 seed. Yeah. And then eventually they dropped down to the 2 seed. Oh. That's just, you know, the luck of the draw. That's how the game goes. But to almost being 1 win away from the NBA finals, you could not have told me that back then. I would not have believed you. So it's just honestly like so crazy. It's like I was lucky and blessed enough to be born here and grown up in this atmosphere. It is unlike anything else. It's just so fun to be a part of. I couldn't picture living anywhere else or being a part of any other franchise. Like, it's just so crazy to me. Like, I don't know. And I'm glad that you recognize it. Like, and there's so many people that are like salty and they're like, yeah, like whatever, title town, city of champions. Yeah. Okay. When? Back in 2008. And it's like, yeah, you're right. Like, we haven't had the best of luck making it to the finals and winning anything in a while. Red Sox kind of helped us out a little bit to make us feel a little better. Same thing with the Bruins. But yeah, Celtics are way overdue. And, I love this culture, and I couldn't see myself supporting anybody else. And I'm just glad that this is where I grew up and this is the lifestyle for me.
Yeah. So we are live with talented, inspiring sports reporter Bree Mary D, a big Boston Celtics fan. We have a fan question for you. One of our
Oh
fans,
yeah.
yeah, one of our fans want to know while you were at NBC Boston, what would you say your most memorable interview you've done in your career?
I didn't really get to interview like anyone. The only person I interviewed was Torrey Krug. He was, and of course, it was a Bruins player, which I was like the least thing I knew about. Right? I don't follow hockey. I'm not a hockey fan. I interviewed him, but that was with that was with Newton Television. I went down and he was at one of our local supermarkets, and they're like, "Go take a camera right now and go interview Torrey Krug." I was like, "Okay, this is awkward." But yeah, that actually went well. Connections I made. So I family friends with Dan Shaughnessy, Gary Tangway. I actually, fun fact, I don't know if Kyle Draper is going to like this story, but Kyle Draper, who's now with the Sacramento Kings, he was with NBC Sports Boston for a while. I saw him. I'll just say I saw him out in Boston, and I went up to him and I said, "Do you have your business card on you?" And he was like, "You know who I am?" And I said, "Absolutely, I want your job." So just like those connections, like seeing Scal every day, like Scalabrini, White Mamba, me and him are like really cool. And I see him like all the time and I say hi to him and we have a good relationship. Chris Forsberg, he's amazing. Max is awesome. Like just all these people that, you know, are big time TV people for like local, you know, Boston, NBC Sports. Like I'm just cool with all of them. And it's so fun to just be like, I know them. I worked with them. They're my former coworkers. If COVID didn't happen, I'd still be working there. So just the connections I made and the networking that I've done was definitely the biggest achievement for me. And just like, you know, having a personable, you know, personality and being able to just be confident and be like, hey, like, this is what I think. This is how I am. Again, like I said, it's either a love or hate. Some people hate that about me, but you know, I'm not going to stop being myself for anybody. So it worked out to my advantage because of all the opportunities and connections I've made.
Yeah, it's amazing. And obviously we had Kyle Draper on our show 2 years ago.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like shocked that I knew who he was. It was so funny.
And also, we had Amanda Fugran on our show 2 times, and she's amazing. Amanda,
she is amazing. She works very, very hard.
Yeah, and then Abby Chin is another great one too.
Yes, thank God we got her back. I don't know what they were thinking. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that COVID era of like people were just getting wiped out for no reason. And like all that was like the worst choice NBC could have made. So I like how they walked that back and brought her back on because she is a staple to NBC Sports and the Celtics. So it's great to see Abby Chin, especially a woman, right, representing for sports. So I'm glad all those women are amazing and I support them 100%.
Yeah. So speaking of that COVID year, tell our fans how tough is it for you guys? Obviously, when everything shut down and everybody went home, and they had to adapt to Zoom, a lot of Zoom meetings. I'm sure for you guys, for you even. How did you deal with the COVID situation as a sports reporter, and what did you learn from that year till now?
Oh my God, I was losing my mind. It was like we took sports for granted, right? Because I was like, you're telling me like when the off season is, like when Celtics like, you know, have the off season, I'm always like, okay, come back now, come back. I can't, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with myself for 2 months. Imagine that being over a year of us just being like, what is happening? When are we getting sports back? Because that's like a huge part of everyone's lives if you're a sports fan. So that was just devastating. So I had, like I told you, I had 3 jobs. So not only was I lost my bartending and serving jobs, which because there was no human interaction, right? I also lost sports. So I had a sports job. Like, you know, people are like, oh, you know, bartending, serving is not a real job. Okay, well, I had a real job working in a building, a corporate building that also shut down. So what else are you going to tell me? It's like, you know what, hustle however way you want and you can to make money. No one can tell you what's a job and what's not. Support yourself however way you want. Mm-hmm. But when all streams of my income were taken away from me and I had to like sit on my butt for 8 months, I was like, this is a joke, right? So I had to adapt. I did other jobs. I worked for Amazon as an essential worker. I became a nanny.
Wow.
I just had to pivot. We all had to pivot and change and adapt and do other things and, kind of pass the time until, the world opened up. And of course, it opened up, it closed. It opened up, it closed a million times. And we were all just kind of like, what is going on? We took so many things for granted, I think. And our freedoms felt like they were being taken from us, which was a total like over exaggeration. But I understand the idea of you were used to something, you were used to a certain lifestyle and a certain way of life, and it was changed. General public, which I understand the idea and the logic behind it. Unfortunately, it's kind of like putting a bunch of third graders in a room, right? And telling them to stay focused on something for 8 hours. They're not going to do it without giving them recess or breaks or anything. They're not going to do it. So that's why America couldn't just stay in their, like they were literally, the government was saying, stop doing stuff for 2 weeks. Just don't move. Just stay in your house, chill, watch Netflix. I don't know. And no one could do it. So it was crazy. It went on for way too long. We're still kind of dealing with it, seeing as Al Horford couldn't play the other day because of COVID. I just want it to be over. It just affected our lives so much. But past that crisis, obviously there's a lot more crises in the world that I really, we can also get together as a nation and try and, overcome and get past, because we're better than this. And it's kind of embarrassing at this point to live here. I use sports as a distraction for like my mental well-being and like to focus my energy on something positive and something that makes me happy. Because if I were to sit and really think about everything that's happening around me in this world, we would all spiral. So it's really crazy how a sport and a team can whole mood in your life, So I'm just blessed for that. I'm blessed that we are a winning team and that we're still in the playoffs and that the future looks bright for all the organizations that I root for. So I'm really happy.
Yeah. So this is how the show got started. This show during pandemic, when the sport shut down. This show has been 2 years or 2 years old already, and we took advantage of everyone being home and reaching out to people to come on the show because they had nothing to do. So so we took advantage of that. And speaking of, we got to send prayers and thoughts to the people in Texas right now too. And obviously, it's devastating to see what happened with all these kids and parents. And I just want to send my prayers and thoughts to them. And obviously, we use this platform to discuss some of that stuff, but.
Because things are bigger than sports, and when people can use their platform for that as well, to bring awareness and to just, send those vibes, to just hope for change and plead for change, like that's really important too. So I know that sports is the main focus of us and what we do, but it's important to also be human and say those things as well and address what's going on around us.
So I want to talk about, so we have another fan question. Someone wants to know, what would you say your most memorable game you've been to? Red Sox Celtics, both.
That's a good question. I went to the World Series last year. Right? Was it last year? All these games, sometimes, honestly, this isn't like a weird flex or whatever, because I go to so many games, a lot of them are a blur, like they all kind of blend together. So I went to the World Series. That was epic, amazing. I've never been to a World Series game, so that was so fun. If the Celtics make it, when they make never been to an NBA Finals game. So I've actually made it my mission, and I'm going super broke doing this, but I made it my mission to go to every single home playoff game from start to finish of their season. And I've been to every single one. I made it work. I orchestrated my schedule perfectly that like I'll work a pregame and then go straight across the street and go to the game. Like it's been wild and hectic, but I'm so thankful and blessed. And it was like, I don't know why I took on this like challenge that I put on myself, because my bank account is not happy, but it's super fun. And I'm just like, I want to look back and be like, 2022, I went to every single playoff game. I like was so dedicated, and that's what I did. But for the Celtics, I was there when we played the Heat, when LeBron was like on fire, when he was with the Heat. That game was intense. Literally just any like crazy game that the Celtics just put on a show is memorable to me. And like I said, I'm hoping that any of the games that I went to, it gets trumped by an NBA Finals win. So to be continued on what's going to be my most favorite Celtics moment. But for Red Sox, it was definitely going to the World Series and being a part of that, or any Yankees, Red Sox, like extra off fashion. Like those games are sick too. So
yes,
that's fun. Rivalry games are always awesome. Like when we beat the Lakers or if we beat the Yankees, those games are like, they sit high on my list of like top tier games that I've been to.
Well, Bree, you deserve to be they need to give you media credentials now to go to
right?
Yeah, to go to Celtic Stadium since you're the number one Boston fan there, and obviously you're a sports reporter. So why not get? They need to give you a media.
There's so many hoops to jump through with that. Like when I used to work for NBC Sports, I got to go to one game a year with a media pass, but I was working the game. So like it was so fun. Like I got to like take a microphone and like be in it with, at the time it was Brad Stevens, who was the head coach, and like any of the like post-game interviews, like, Marcus Smart would talk, Al Horford would talk, and I'd be like, oh my God. Like I got to see Tom Brady. Oh, it was so cool. Like those moments are awesome. But I know that there's so many hoops to jump through if you're just like a sole reporter at this point. Like if you don't really have like a big media like conglomerate backing you up, it's hard to get like your own credentials, especially in the playoffs. Like if it was a regular season game, yeah, sure. They don't really care. You can just make up a name and they'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever. It doesn't matter because these tickets are $50.
Sorry, guys, technical difficulties here again.
This meeting is being recorded.
Oh man, I think it's on my side. I think.
Oops. Did that save or does it get deleted?
No, it's saved.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh man. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes. Sorry. Halftime break.
Sorry. All right. Sorry.
No, it's good. I don't know if everything that I said or if it cut out. Basically, in a recap, it's super hard if you are trying to get into the playoffs with a media pass. It's very hard to get in. Obviously easier during regular season to just be like, hey, I'm a reporter, and they're like, yeah, whatever, tickets are $50. Now playoff tickets are like almost $1,000. It's like absurd and outrageous that the prices they're trying to charge. So it's harder to like jump through hoops to get a media credential for playoffs, just because there's also like a lot more famous people. Like you got the ESPN panel, like I said, Perk, Stephen A. Smith, all those people. So especially with like heightened security as well, they take that stuff very like strict and serious. So just not hoops I'm trying to jump through for a media pass. I could do it, but it would take like weeks. So
yeah, so
I'll just pay the fee to walk through the door. Like a normal civilian.
In my books, you're the number one Boston fan out there. So you're number
Thank you. I try to represent.
Yeah,
in the most like non-biased way that I can, but like obviously I bleed green. I support my team, but I try and be a realist. I try and see both sides of it as best as I can. But yes, I will be a diehard Celtics fan till I die for sure.
So we have another fan question. Someone wants to know, the players have routines too before going into a big game or before playing. So what is they want to know, what is your routine as a fan and a reporter before going into a big game?
So I make sure that I tweet out like the injury report. I'll tweet out like I'll do like a poll. I'll do a poll every day on my Instagram, and I'll be like, okay, series, and I'll say what their win streak is or what their losing streak is. I'll say what their record is. I'll say the injury report. And then like if I have a stat or a fact, I'll type it in. And I do that every single day at midnight, always. Midnight, start of the day. It's always at midnight. And I make sure that it's up for 24 hours. And I have to do that or else it's bad luck. I'm always keeping track of that. Like my notepad out on my phone, and I'll just take notes after every quarter, just like, who the leading scorer was, if we had like, any recordable like achievements, whether it was like negatively or positively, like how many 3-pointers were made, how many turnovers were made, whatever. I'll do that for every quarter, whether I'm at the game or I'm watching it at home. There's not much, like, I don't wear certain things. Like I'll change up my outfit. That's not something that I need to stay the same, because I like to have different outfits and be like, this is what I'm wearing today and whatever. So it's not like I have to wear the same socks or something. Like I don't do anything like that. That's superstitious. But yeah, I just try and, hype up myself and, the people that me on Instagram and Twitter as best I can. And that's pretty much it. Like there's nothing like super, like I don't like eat the same food or do the same thing like that much. However, randomly though, I will say this, my boyfriend gave me flowers after one of our losses. I think it was the Bucks, obviously, because we didn't lose against the Nets. We swept them. We got the brims and swept the Nets. So whatever loss it was against the Bucks, he got me flowers the next day. I think to just be like, don't feel bad. We went. And I've not thrown those out yet. They're literally dead on my bedside table, but I'm like, these seem like good luck for some reason. I'm not going to throw these out until the end of the Celtics season. So I just have dead flowers chilling next to me, but it's fine. Like that's like one thing I was like, I'm not throwing these out because we've made it this far because of this random act of kindness of you giving me these flowers. So I'm not throwing these out. Who knows the power these flowers have, dead or alive. So that's like the only thing right now that like I'm using for like motivation for the playoff run. But other than that, yeah, that's it. Like there's nothing like super like superstitious that I do. Just I have to be on top of everything and make sure I'm doing like due diligence on just reporting what I see, like any injury updates, any sort of updates, I try and post out as soon as I hear them, just to make sure that we're all aware of what's going on for the game ahead of us. Yeah.
So I want to piggy off from our fans question. So tell our fans, what's your hype music?
My hype music. Well, I love Drake. I could literally recite any Drake song ever. Also big Eminem fan, but that's not really like basketball vibes in my opinion. If I'm talking about like a super hype song, my walkout song in college was Bring 'Em Out by T.I. I think that's the best walkout pump up song ever. That'll forever be my walkout song. And that was my walkout song in college. So that song really gets me hype. So that and any Drake song is my hype up music for sure.
For us is for me is Meek Mill, Dreams and Nightmares.
Oh God, that song plays all the time. It's so played out, but I get what you're saying. Is that the one that's like we used to pray for this for times like this? That one? Yeah. Literally though, that's my life. That lyric right there is what's going on right now. So maybe I should add that into my rotation. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, there you go.
Good stuff. Adding it into my Spotify playlist.
So I'm going to put you on the spot right now here. So
oh boy,
if Brad Stevens decides to stay as a head coach for this year and not decide to go to the front office and bring in another coach, would your Celtics still be here with Brad Stevens in the East?
I don't think so. That's a really good question. I never doubted Brad. Brad got us very far in his tenure here as a head coach. I was always like team dad Brad Stevens, always. I think that the move they made was genius because he has a great basketball IQ. I think he's absolutely in the correct position he was meant to be in. I think we needed to try it, right? And he was successful. It's not like he wasn't. I just think that the team was looking for a better role model that they could relate to more. Like, for example, Alex Cora for the Red Sox. perfect coach you could ever draw up for them because he is Hispanic. He played for the Red Sox. He's young. He can relate to them, and he's going to be on their ass about it. That's why he was perfect. And I knew that when he was mutually parted ways, that was the door to open back up to rehire him. So perfect choice there for the Red Sox franchise, and perfect choice here for the Celtics. However, will I be dead honest with you and say halfway through the season, I was like, what is the deal with Ime?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? I don't trust him. Get him out. And I was very quick to say that because I didn't see the vision. I didn't trust the process. Like our Sixers fans believe in. I was like, this is like stressing me out. I don't have patience for this. Like, this is not what I expected. Because I was so happy with how far we went with Brad that I was like, what is going on here? This is not like the caliber of play that we should be at. So I thought it was a genius move because we still have Brad and his influence. We just have him now at the front office on the floor leading the boys, which is great because, like I said, I think they just wanted someone more relatable to them. And obviously a former player, and obviously one that is Black. And they wanted that type of connection. And that's great. And I want that for them. And I'm all about that. I want more head coaches to be Black because they deserve to be. They know this sport better. They are the dominant race in this game. And they absolutely should have the power. And they should. And so I'm very, very happy for all of the changes in the positive way that it went, and that we didn't get rid of Brad. He's still there, just doing a different role, and it's great. Dad Brad Stevens, love him to death, did not hate him at all, but he's better suited for the job he has now, definitely. Yeah. If I'm looking at it realistically, yes, definitely. Great question.
And Ime Udoka comes from a Spurs team. He learned a lot from Greg Popovich, and then he went to Brooklyn to be with Steve Nash for a little bit. And then that's how he got the job in Boston. And Ime Udoka is smart IQ, and the players love playing for him, it seems like. So I think you guys got a good one in here. And the NBA is shifting to a new tradition with first-year head coaches that used to be players. Like, for example, Steve Nash was one. You had this year Willie Green from the Pelicans. Look how good he did, bringing them to the playoffs on the Western side. So I like the new wave of young coaches in the NBA now, in my opinion.
Right. Just how, like I said, like media are all like former players. Now it's like head coaches are now going to be all former players, it seems like, which is great. Like, that's fine. Who better than people that already lived through it and played it, right? To now coach it. So I really like the new wave of the NBA. It's great. All positive changes for sure.
So tell our fans, going into tomorrow night's game and at home, obviously you're going to be there, but
I'm like dying. It's been the longest 24 hours of my life. I'm just sitting here like, I really have to go work and have to pretend like I care about work just to get off work, to run across the street to the Garden to get there before tip off. Like,
that's great. You live close, huh?
Well, yeah, I grew up in Newton, or I don't know if I said that. I grew up in Newton, and now I live in Medford, which is like 10 minutes down the street from the Garden. And I work across the street from the Garden at a bar. And I've worked it out with my awesome managers that I told them, listen, I have a Celtics addiction. I will be at all of the home games. If you would like me to work, these are my terms. And they were like, done. So I was like, great. I go into work at 4. I literally don't get busy till like 6. And then I'm done by 8. So I can run across the street for 8:30, which is amazing. And it's awesome. And I'm very lucky and blessed to be able to do that. So I don't take that for granted at all. I'm just saying. I'm very, very happy and lucky that that's how my work schedule has worked out. Yeah, I can't even contain what a closeout game in the Garden will look like tomorrow. Like, wild. I predict people like jumping off of cars, setting cars on fire. No, I'm just kidding.
Nope. Boston fan.
The point of turning flipping cars, but them just probably, taking their shirts off and running through the streets is as bad as it'll get. Yeah, because like I said, we've been there before. We've won before. All these other like franchises that have never won or haven't won in like 50 something years, they act a fool and cause like mayhem in their streets, in their cities. We are more normal. We just get drunk and probably pass out on the street. That's about it. Climb a lamppost and like fall down from it. We don't really cause harm to others for the most part. If anything, they just cause harm to themselves because they just are all alcoholics in this city. Not me, but everybody else. I just feed the addiction at the bar, and then I say, have fun with your journey for the rest of the day. I don't have to deal with you anymore. You're the world's problem now. But yeah, I'm just so stoked, so excited because Scalabrine gets hype. Like, I don't know if anyone watches NBC Sports Boston. I know that like when it becomes playoffs, NBC Sports only does pregame, halftime, postgame live. They don't do the show. They don't broadcast the games because it either goes to ESPN or TNT or ABC. So we don't have as if I still work there. They don't have the credentials to air it on their station, just due to their pre-games and their shows, like, you know, when it doesn't conflict with ESPN and whatever. And every time Scal is on, he just hypes everybody up. He has like a huge fan base that like supports him. It's so fun. And that atmosphere is unmatched. It's unreal. It's so crazy. Everybody on Instagram and Twitter to get that sort of experience firsthand, because I'm bringing a portable charger because I know I'll be using my phone every 2 seconds to capture all the beauty of Game 6.
Wow.
It's gonna be crazy. I can't even think. I can't. It's just, I have no words.
So tell our fans what are the keys for you guys tomorrow night to close out home, because everybody knows the Heat will come desperate. It's obviously for them, it's a win or go home situation. So they're going to come there, play hard, play their hearts out. And what do you think Ime Udoka needs to do with the with your players and the team and the rest of the coaching staff, Damon Stoudemire, the rest of the coaching staff? What do you think they need to do to stay locked in? Obviously, you're up one game, but you know, everybody knows the Heat will battle tomorrow night.
So one of my hosts for the Celtics Corner on YouTube, he said it best: pretend like you lost and play that way. Because for some reason, the pattern was the Celtics couldn't win 2 in a row. Obviously, the Nets series it doesn't count. But for the Bucks series, they couldn't win 2 in a row. It was they would win and then lose, win and then lose, win and then lose. And you were kind of seeing it here too, like win, lose, win, lose. So the fact that they won 2 in a row speaks volumes. They made that adjustment, right? Definitely not turning the ball over. Stop being careless with the ball. That's a huge thing. If you need to slow the momentum of the game down to control the ball better, please do that, because I cannot stand seeing careless turnovers, butterfingers. What are you doing? Terrible passes for no reason, trying to force a pass. Stop doing that. Worst decision, like just stop. It's back to fundamental basketball. Hit your free throws. So simple. It's basic basketball 101. Hit your free throws. If the threes are falling, it's going to be a win. When the Celtics get so 3 trigger happy and it's like they're 1 for 15, not going to go well if that's how it starts out. Whatever adjustments that Ime made second half of last night's game needs to be applied to the first half and to all 48 minutes of Game 6. There's no excuse, no question. I said it in my pregame show yesterday. I said, we have everything. This has been the one game where we have everything lined up for success. We have everybody playing. Nobody's hurt except for Sam Hauser, AKA I call him Walmart Hayward because he looks like Gordon Hayward. Anyways, we had everybody listed, all of our starters active. We were set up for success. We were coming off of we were coming off of a win. We had that momentum going into Miami. You needed to just make a statement, steal it, and let's go. And they did. I'm worried about what the injury report's going to look like, because that's always a crapshoot. I have no idea. Will Smart play? Will Rob play? I don't know. Did someone catch COVID in Miami that we don't know about? Like, we have no idea. So that's really the factor that we can't control. That's one of the uncontrollables that we just have to make adjustments and next man up mentality, because we can't control the injury report, who's cleared to play or what. What we can control: turnovers, free throws, better shot selection, protecting the rim. They need to have better like rim protection because them getting second chance points will kill us.
Yeah.
But they've done a really great job of silencing Jimmy Butler these last couple of games. He only had 13 points.
Yep.
That's crazy. So if Jimmy Butler doesn't show up to play, they're not in it. Sorry, not going to happen. You shut down Jimmy Butler, that's it. Bam Adebayo can't save you. Sorry, he can't do it alone.
And I think, I think the fan, obviously TD Garden is a tough place to play in usually, and with your fans there.
Oh, yeah.
So that's gonna be that's gonna be a big factor for the Heat. Can they quiet the biggest key for them? Can they quiet down the crowd? Which most likely they might not, because the crowd is in it from the start. So
we did not sit down once. Game 4, like we were on our feet like the entire second half of the game. It was just crazy. We don't shut up. You think I don't shut up? The whole fan base doesn't shut up. So they'll be hearing it. Trust.
So we have another fan question for you. They want to know about the Brooklyn Nets situation, about with Kyrie being a free agent, and also Kevin Durant. There's rumors on Twitter that he hasn't spoken to the franchise since the season ended, since you guys swept them. So I think this could be a disaster coming up for the Brooklyn Nets because the fan basically wants to know, what do you think will happen with Kyrie if he leaves? Do you think KD leaves too?
Well, keep him far away from me. I don't really care. I'm so sick of wasting my breath on Kyrie. I think that they're just kind of stirring that up to keep them relevant and in talks right now. Like I keep seeing people post about LeBron and like throwbacks of LeBron. I'm like, they are all in Cancun. Focus on the teams that are actually playing right now. Stop trying to give, breath and light to these players that literally don't give a shit right now about basketball. They are on an island chilling. Let's focus on the teams that are actually in the game. So I saw a really funny tweet that was like about the KD thing and like not speaking to the Nets. And someone was like, I don't talk to my job on my day off either. So like, that's hilarious. And I'm like, yes, that 100%. He's trying to avoid the negativity for like 2 months of his life. Give him some space. I love KD. I think he's great. He's a great competitor. He has a lot of respect. He holds himself with a lot of class for the most part. Yes, people have their off moments where they might be upset and react to a fan or whatever here and there. But for the most part, he is a normal dude, and I appreciate him. Kyrie, on the other hand, can't shut up. He is his own worst enemy. I think I've heard predictions that he might go to the Lakers and be the Robin again and be in the shadows again of LeBron. And you know what? That's probably the best place for him. Honestly, I'm all set with him. He can get out of the East. See you later. Go to the West. I don't care what you do with him. But that was just a complete train wreck. I did not see that coming. Honestly, I had that series between us and the Nets going 7. If KD and Kyrie showed up like normal humans that they are and played to their capabilities, I thought that was going easy 7. So the fact that we swept them was like, oh, this is what we're doing? Okay, we could win this all. That is a huge statement game. Going through monsters like KD and monsters like Giannis, and now we face Jimmy Butler. He's the least of my concerns out of those 3 names, if I'm being honest with you. The next monster to take down is Steph Curry.
Yep.
The future looks great. The future looks bright. I'd feel a lot more confident if we weren't as beaten up and bruised as we are. I think that's really going to take a toll on us. Just going 7 against the Bucks really killed us because Giannis likes to play football instead of basketball. So that really hurt us. I just think we're just if we had one more key shooter, one more key piece, and if we were full strength in the sense of we could not have an injury every 2 seconds or a flare up of an injury every 2 seconds, I think we'd have a better shot. But like I said, anything is possible. I don't know if you can see that. I have my KG up there. Anything is possible. It's just going to be who wants it more, who's going to fight, and who's going to leave it all out there to be the champion. And whoever wins at this point in the game, the better team deserves to win, and I respect the outcome at this point. If it's going to be lopsided blowouts and there's really no effort being shown, then I'm going to say something. I'm going to be like, you know what? You don't deserve to win. You need to play with heart. If it's a close game, they lose by 2, I'm okay with that. So it just really comes down to who wants it more, who's going to fight through the injuries and all the adversity and get the ultimate goal, which is to win the whole thing.
Yeah, so I'm tomorrow night. We're picking you guys to win, close it out, to go to the finals, and I want you guys to win the championship. I think you guys deserve it. It's been a long time there in Boston, and couple more things here before I let you go. And
yeah, for sure.
What are your thoughts? Do you think the Warriors close it out tonight, or the Mavericks?
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that they lost was literally, I feel like, just because they didn't want them to be swept. However, I didn't think they'd be blown out by the Mavs. That was kind of interesting. All these games have really been blowouts, which is weird. Like, people have now been saying it's the National Blowout Association instead of the National Basketball Association, which is true. It's funny. Like, they're not that engaging when they're blowouts like that. I mean, I'll take a blowout all day if it's in the favor of the Celtics. I'm not going to ever say, oh, I'd rather see that be a close game. I'm not stupid. I'll take a blowout to advance my team. But yeah, the fact that the Warriors lost, 2 days ago, is a fluke to me. Steph's not going to let that happen, especially it's in Oracle, right? Or whatever it's called. It's not called Oracle anymore. Whatever their new court is called. Yeah. I know it's not Oracle, but I'll call it Oracle because that's how old I am. And it used to be called Oracle. Golden State, Golden State has home court advantage. So I do not see them losing. So, yep. Moving on, Warriors are going to get more, maybe 1 or 2 more days rest than us, because I for sure don't see the Celtics falling apart tomorrow. It would really blow my mind if they have just a crappy game, and they would be beating themselves. Honestly, it's not like the Heat would beat them. Celtics would lose that game. It wouldn't be the Heat win it. It would be the Celtics just lost and beat themselves. That's the only way I see this happening. But they need to just get their act together, stay on a hot streak, and get it done. The NBA all-first team Tatum takeover will happen tomorrow in our home court with Deuce courtside. I can't even wait. It's going to be beautiful.
Have you met Deuce?
I saw him. I was too afraid to say anything because I'm like, he's 4. This is weird. I shouldn't approach a child. But he is literally a legend. He is a superstar. He's more famous than anybody that steps into that arena, to be very honest with you. I don't care. You have Migos, Quavo, whoever, Gucci Mane. No one is as cool as Deuce Tatum. So he's always the one to watch on the sidelines. He's hilarious. He is honestly instant gold. Anything he does, I've captured some videos of him just going off, being hilarious, and they went pretty viral. Just because he's just so he's like our mascot. He's like our sixth man. He's so awesome, and he is the heart and soul. He is a part of the culture and a staple of the Garden. And life would be so weird without him. So. It's him being able to hold up the trophy tomorrow night would be so sick. Yeah,
he's gonna end up playing for the Celtics pretty soon.
Hell yeah! Before we know it, we're gonna blink and he's gonna be only 19 playing with Tatum as well. So.
Yeah, so we have a hot take from one of our fans. They think that Peyton Pritchard will have a big factor for you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, Peyton Pritchard has been very consistent. He's really good from the 3. The only issue with Peyton Pritchard is that he's small, so he's not that great on the defensive end. He gets, matchups aren't favorable for him, and he gets beat on that side of the court. But when he's on, and I totally agree with that. Peyton is really good. Derek White really surprised me.
White, yeah,
played really well. He was the main reason. Him and Al Horford, those two were the main reason we even were in the game the first half of the game last night, because like I said, it was night and day it was a tale of 2 halves. The first half of the game, I don't know what happened. Maybe they partied too hard in Miami the night before. Not quite sure what happened. None of them looked ready to play. Second half, I think Ime just kind of smacked them all and said, let's go, figure it out. But yeah, I rely on Peyton Pritchard a lot. I think he's great. There's no bad words to say about Pritchard. I agree. Once he catches fire and if he's raining down threes, there's no stopping him for sure.
Yeah, so before we get to the last 2 things, can you speak on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and what both of them has meant to the city of Boston Celtics, to your fan base? because there was a lot of talk over the few years that Jaylen Brown couldn't fit with this team if they were going to trade either one of them. But now they turned up. Now they're one of the best duos in the league now with Emi Udoka on the fold. So talk about those two players, and obviously Jason Tatum, first team All Team NBA, and man, a flat out star. And Jaylen Brown is starting; he's a star too. So what do you just speak about both of them and what they both meant to you guys in Boston?
I think with anything, right, you just need to get used to things. Like once Jason kind of pulled away from Jaylen and Jason has become the star and the face of the franchise, people need to just know their roles and know their positions and what value they bring to a team. And I think they just needed to really figure it out and get more reps working together, because our team has faced a lot of adversity, a lot of times where they weren't all consistently playing together. Like there was a time where the starting five only played together like 10 times. And that was it, because everyone was out with either injury, COVID, this, that, whatever. We just weren't lucky for a lot of the time during this wave of the Jaylen Jason era. Now they've really settled into their roles, and I thought it was so dumb that people were like, trade them, separate them, they can't play together. That was just stupid and nonsense. And again, people not having patience. Good things take time, you know? You can't just expect something to be great just because they are great, you know? It takes time to really work together to come up with something great. So I'm so glad that they figured it out right, better late than never. They figured it out right in the nick of time. And my only concern with Jaylen would be, he needs to just work on his handles a little bit better. He just needs to, calm down, figure out how to control the ball a little bit better. That's my only concern with him, is that his ball handling just needs to be elevated a little more. But other than that, they're both great. Tatum is a superstar. He's top 10 in the league for sure. Shouldn't be a question now. You've seen how much he's done this year, how far he has come at only 19. He's done a lot. That's an inside joke. If Celtics fans will get it. But the future is so bright for them. They're so young, 25, 24. We're in a really good spot, and pay them whatever they want so they do not leave would be my number one tip to the Boston Celtics. Don't be cheap. Pay them whatever they want, and we will go far. So very, very happy with the success so far between the Jays.
Yeah, you're gonna like this. I'm gonna take real quick. I want to take you back in the days. We had Dana Barrios on the show too a couple months back. He played for the Celtics, if you know him.
Oh my God, yeah, that's a throwback. That is crazy.
Yeah, he played for the Celtics and Sixers too, but mainly the Celtics, and he was like a point guard for you guys back in the day. Yeah, so. The Celtics history, man, I love.
So deep.
Yeah. But the last two things here, our team is part of this foundation. It's called the Hugh Jackson Foundation. We're trying to help them prevent human trafficking, making sure the community stays safe, the kids stay safe. So we'll send you the foundation so you can go check it out.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Thank you. That's great work.
Yeah, thank you. And the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and all the center workers right now?
Thank you for all of your hard work. I know that a lot of the things that you guys do are thankless, and no one sees it and no one understands it unless they are a part of it. A lot of industries are like that, where if you're not submerged in it, or if you haven't done it, you don't know what it's like. So thank you for all the selfless work that you guys do. We really appreciate you. We wouldn't run as a country if you guys didn't support us and have, that type of like selflessness and care in your hearts to do and give back to others and help others. So I really appreciate all of your work, and we respect you, and our thoughts and prayers go out to you and the safety of your family and yourself.
Sure. Well said. And so to close this out, tell our fans, would you like to plug anything? Tell our fans where they can find you on social media, your shows coming up, and where they can find you.
So I do my own stuff. I've been doing my own stuff for a while on my Instagram and Twitter. It's at BRIMARIED on both Twitter and Instagram. I have a lot of people that make fake accounts of me. So it's really creepy and weird. So if you go to Instagram, it should be BRI MARIE.D. That's it. And you'll see if you have eyes, you'll realize what's a real account and what's fake. And then I also do a podcast on YouTube. It's called Celtics Corner. I do that with my co-hosts, Bobby and Jags. They are at 8.3 thousand subscribers. It's really awesome. We do live pregame and postgame shows there. So definitely subscribe. It's free to subscribe, like, comment, reach out. And any sort of, support I get, I really appreciate. And thank you so much for having me on the show. Better late than never. Glad we got it done. And it's so great to meet you. And I support you guys 100%. And thank you for all of the work that you do as well for supporting charities and everything like that.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for joining the show today. And thank you to our fans for tuning in and asking great questions to Bree.
Really good questions.
Yeah. So there you have it. That's Bree Mary D. Go follow on all social media formats. Big Celtics fan. No, I'm
Celtics in 6.
Tomorrow night she's gonna be there at the TV Garden live. So if you want to tweet at her or talk to her, she'll be live there at Celtics Stadium. But Bree, thank you again. Keep up the great work. You're such an inspiration. Good luck to your Celtics tomorrow night. I'll be rooting for you guys for sure.
Thank you so much.
And also, we would love to have you back on the show down the line so you can meet the full team, and we'll stay connected, and hopefully we get to meet in person one day. So
definitely, absolutely, would love to make that happen again for sure.
Thank you.
No problem. Thanks, guys. Go Celtics.
Yeah. All right. Let's see.